Hi there, welcome to No Nonsense Whiskey. My name's Vin PF, and on today we've got another sample Saturday for you. Today we've got a little collection from abbywhisky.com. We'll go into each one a little bit more. I got a little bit of feedback from the last couple of ones I've done. I've mixed it up a little bit with Sample Saturdays recently, where what I used to do is do what I normally do for my normal reviews, and that was try them ahead of time, do some tasting notes, do some research, whatnot. But in this case, I've decided that I'm not going to do that like I did last time, and I'm going to just sort of like run with it and see what happens. Go completely blind into these whiskies and see what's going into them. I've got some information up on the screen, so I say completely blind. It's not completely blind. I know roughly what these distilleries are, I know roughly what they are, but I haven't tried them yet, and it's going to be a little bit more informal, and sometimes even the cat will probably come and bother me. She's literally sitting right there, right now. So if she comes in, I'll grab her and you can say hello to Bella, but hopefully she won't make any noise. Shush. You coming in? Okay. Anyway, we'll see what happens with her. But yeah, so these are kind of like no editing. See what you like about them. If you like them the way they are now, let me know below. If you preferred them the way they were, let me know below. If you're not watching them, you're probably not going to let me know. But if you're watching these and you're liking it, let me know. You know what I like to hear. Anyway, let's get into these ones then and see what we've got. Now, Abbey Whisky got in touch and said, do I want to try some of their whiskies? Absolutely, yes, 100% I do. I do love trying samples as well as kind of full-size bottles, of course, and that's why the Sample Saturdays have come in through recently. Been getting a fair amount of samples. We've got one exclusive bottling by them for Lindores. I never knew how to say that properly. I'm probably going to say that wrong all the way through this, but never mind. The other two are from their 15th anniversary. There used to be 3 bottlings of that. There was a Kalila as well. I've got the Tamdhu and the Ardmore on the table today as well. And we'll go through each of those samples below. If you're interested in any of them in particular, there'll be links in the description below. But of course, I'll do the chapters below on the thing here, so you can see exactly where you want to go with these things. So yeah, let's get into the first one then and see what we've got. We've got a 4-year-old vintage 2018 Lindores Abbey. I'm sure someone will correct me how to say that, but yeah. Of course, with the informal nature of these, what I'll be doing is reading a little bit off the screen so you can see what we've got here. Obviously you can go and click on the links and find out more yourself, but the basic knowledge you need to know, this is Cask 591. It's going to be 70 quid, which isn't too bad. It's a 4-year-old whiskey. This is a brand new distillery, really. So yeah, interesting. Oloroso Sherry Butt, 624 bottles, 59.5%, so you're getting a lot of ABV for your money. And then there's a bunch of other information as well, which I won't go into, but yeah, like I said, description below. So yeah, it's really to kind of showcase their interest in that distillery. In fact, apparently, this is for a limited time only, they're giving away 2 complimentary tour vouchers to the distillery. So yeah, why not? Why not check them out? Let's see what we've got in the glass then. Single cask. I imagine no added colour, non-chill filtered, all that jazz. Best thing about this is that there's not really any tasting notes for me to draw on. So in the last episode of Sample Saturday, what I did was I read out the marketing and see if I agreed with it or not. But I haven't got that, so it's all on me today. And we'll see what we've actually got in the glass right now. Okay, interesting. Hasn't got an overly deep nose, I must admit. There's not a whole heap of sherry caskness going on to it, but that's okay. Little bit of sultanery is on the back end, but mostly what I'm getting is oak. Yeah, none of the usual things like, we say a lot of things like vanillas, caramels, that sort of thing. None of that usual stuff, which is good. Okay, let's try on the palate then. Okay, I mean the ABV is definitely letting itself be known there. It's not overly so. I think my palate would call this sort of early 50s rather than late 50s, which is good. Getting a lot more of that ABV to kind of interest you, but actually it doesn't taste that high, if that makes any sense. I know like it's a very scary ABV, 59%, but yeah, it doesn't go into that. Very oaky. It's very oaky. Lots of tannins in this, lots of leather and lots of tobacco. Massively overriding kind of any sherry notes, but again, only a good thing for me. Sherry notes, I do enjoy it sometimes, but not often, I have to say, not often. yeah, tidy whiskey. Actually, I have to say, I'm not that up on again, Lindores, Abbey. I'm not up on them. I haven't tried any on the channel yet. I think I probably tried some at festivals and whatnot, but those things tend to blur into each other. So really interesting to try that. I think that's probably a reasonable value whiskey as well. 70 quid for extremely high value, high ABV, whiskey. Interesting. Yeah, I'm into that. Now these are the things I'm going to be clearing out palate on these videos because it's only fair to do so. Usually I wouldn't do it when I'm doing a normal style video because I'd have done my tasting notes before, but yeah. Alright then, so next two, we're ramping up a little bit here. So these next two are both £108. They're bottled by Berry, I can't even say it. They're bottled by Berry Bros and Rudd, and they're sort of exclusive to these guys. So yeah, expensive they are. They're not cheap. But what we've got here is a Tamdhu 15-year-old at 61.9% is the next one. If you want to see my wee little label, this is not what the actual labels look like. Quite fancy actually, quite nice looking classic style ones. This one here then it's saying it spent some time in a Moscatel cask. I don't know what that means. I think it's probably just going to be some finishing. But or what does it say here? Is it distilled in our first year of business in 2008, then later rest until June 2022. Then it was transferred into a Moscatel cask for around a year, and then filled into bottles in June 2023. Okay, so 15 years, 126 bottles, so not many at all. 61.9%, £108. Quite a lot. But then I have to say, Tamdhu as a distillery, they're ratcheting up their prices as it is. So to get a kind of cask strength single cask, it's probably about right. You know, nose wise, again, this is quite I don't want to say understated because I don't want to use that as a negative because it isn't a negative. It's not understated. It's just, you know, very, very palatable on the nose. The high ABV doesn't really make itself known. It's got a kind of almost bourbon-esque vibe about it, which is interesting. Lots of vanillas, some kind of like some black dark cherries, that sort of thing. Yeah, very oaky as well. That is interesting. Do you know what? The longer I smell it as well, the more I'm kidding myself that it's actually a little bit bourbony, which is interesting. I enjoy that. Let's try on the palate. Sorry if you're getting a kind of like my tasting on the microphone. I'll try and dull that down if it's coming through, but I don't usually clack or smack them, but that deserved it. Let me have another little sip. That's a beaut, that is. That's... I don't know what's going on there. There's so much going on. Obviously high ABV, 61.9. A lot of you will probably want to add water to this. Try and open it up. I obviously would clearly never guess Moscatel cask would have any kind of influence on this at all, but it does have something weird going on with it. Again, on the blind tasting, if I like with these things, I always try to do is imagine if I was tasting it blind with no information whatsoever, what would my brain lead me towards? And for me, it's leaning on that kind of bourbony side again, which is really odd. I've never had that before. You know, usually you could got a very clear indication whether something's Scotch or if it's not, or, you know, obviously Scotch is a big flavour profile, but you know what I mean. Yeah, there's definitely a kind of a weird... It's very typical, you know, vanillas, more of those kind of cherries, that kind of vibe going on with this. Bags of oak, I mean like serious oak, just like the last one. But then there's that weird little fruitiness at the back end, which would really confuse me on a blind tasting. I would have no clue what was going on with this. That's got to be that Moscatel cask coming through. Oh. Yeah, I've got to say, actually, I really enjoy that. That's lovely. I've always enjoyed Tamdhu, to be honest. I haven't covered many on the channel because they're just becoming quite inaccessible for me on a general kind of par, but, you know, I've always enjoyed them, is the fact. Little cleanse before we move on to the last one. The last one then, something I'm definitely interested in. It's a shame I couldn't get to try the Kalila, but, you know, it is what it is. This one here is an Ardmore 14-year-old, and it's 56.7%. I left this till last because I haven't tried it yet, but I'm assuming it's going to be a little smoky. But yeah, we'll see. Let's see what the website says. Again, it's the 15th anniversary. Single cask. I can smell it. I just picked it up. It's like wafted over on me. It's just 92 bottles from a leaky cask, number 2607. Big, bold Highland dram, not for the faint-hearted. I'm in. We couldn't resist bottling this. Yes, it was first filled into cask on the 25th of June 2009, re-racked into an Amarone cask in April 2022, and then bottled in July 2023 at an impressive 56.7%. So yeah, just 92 bottles. That's interesting. Okay, well, I like Ardmore. I know Ardmore, you know, the standard releases don't tend to get much of interest, but I actually really enjoy those, especially for 20 quid. Obviously, this one's 108, so yeah, let's get onto the nose and see what we got, shall we? Oh yeah, I mean, I was right to leave this till last. It's got... Do you know what? Before I do the nose, I'm going to have a little sip. Just I kind of want to I want to flood my olfactory system with it before I do that. Okay, interesting. Very interesting. That just changed as well. Okay, right. Reset. Let's go back to the nose. All right. So yeah, I mean, this is. I think it's quite typical Ardmore, I would say, but like in a good way. You know, I really like that. It's got that peatiness to it, but it's almost just a touch of a fleck of medicinal to it. It's got a little bit of kind of like TCP vibes about it, which, you know, I really enjoy that. Might put off a few people, I have to admit, but I really enjoy that. Again, bags of oak. You know, these things have been in, all three of these, I would say, have been in the cask probably for about as long as you'd want to keep them in there for, you know, especially with 92 bottles left over of this one. There's probably not going to be much reason to leave it in the cask much longer, but yeah, that's a beautiful nose. Let's try on the palate again. Chomping through it. It's so thick and viscous, beautiful. More of that kind of smoky, ever so slightly TCP vibe on the palate. Really, really lovely. The Amarone cask is definitely doing something weird. Giving it that kind of like fruitiness almost to it, but it's not even really fruitiness. I don't know, it's almost like an effervescence to it, which is really interesting. And then oak, it just transforms into oak. It's, yeah, serious, like, slightly burnt oak at the end, which is really lovely. Love that. Okay, so that's this sample Saturday of these Abbey Whisky exclusive whiskies covered. You know, a really interesting shop, really interesting bottles. They've got lots of amazing stuff on there. As always, check out the links in the description below if you want to go and check out these whiskies and the shop itself. And, you know, go and check them out and see what they've got, because, you know, I've enjoyed all of these. Yes, all right, fair enough, £108, very expensive for kind of normal whiskey drinking, but as I've seen from both of these two, really, really good quality whiskies. And to have single cask, age-stated Scotch, you know, these prices are going up and up and up as it is. But, yeah, for me, if I was going to pick winners, that's a tough one. I think probably, for me, actually, Tamdhu was the winner, Ardmore next, Lindores very close second, third, because, you know, it was lovely, and actually if you factor in the price it probably would have ranked a little bit higher, but all thrhree really good whiskies. But yeah, thanks for joining me again for another Sample Saturday. I'll see you again on more of these in the future, more reviews, all that kind of stuff. As always, as I always say, make sure you let me know in the comments below what you think of this. Any feedback, well, gratefully received. Always like to hear good and bad, so yeah, let me know in the comments below. Cheers, see you again on more videos coming soon. A little bit of TCP-ness. That's definitely going in the credits. It's got a little bit of... Oh dear.